In this video, we will use the editor to take a closer look at SNOMED CT concepts. The editor serves two basic functions. It displays detailed information on a concept, which we will focus on in this video, and it also works as an editor, so it allows you to make changes to a concept. For example, adding another clinical phrase to describe the concept or retiring a concept. Let's review the basic navigation in the editor. I already talked about this in previous videos, so I will do this fairly quickly. Just a short review. You can open a concept by using the quick search. So you just go to the concept and you click it, and then the editor opens up. You can also open a concept in the SNOMED CT view. Let's use the filter search. So you go to the concept and you double click it, or you double click a concept in one of the other views, for instance in the search view here. And to close a concept, simply hit this button, or you can also use the context menu by right-clicking and closing the concept, or closing everything but the active concept, or close all of them. Let's take a close look at the information that is displayed in the concept editor. There are several pages that can be selected by clicking the tabs in the bottom. So, for instance, if I go to mappings, you can see that there is a mapping to ICD-10, and you can see the ICD-10 term that is mapped to the SNOMED CT concept that we have opened. And it's here, this is it. You can move them by simply doing that. But in this video we will just talk about the overview page. The overview page, let me make this a little bit bigger, is comprised of three different sections: the description section, the property section, and the SNOMED CT Properties section. You can open and close these sections by hitting the little triangle. So there's the three sections. Let's look at the description sections. It displays the clinical phrases that describe the concept. In the left column you can see the description type here. So we have the standard descriptions, which is fully specified name and synonyms. And on the right side you can see the actual description terms. So lipodystrophy, and then we have a synonym, dystrophy of fatty tissue. SNOMED supports a variety of description types, so there can also be other description types in this section. For example, patient-friendly descriptions like those used by Kaiser Permanente. A synonym has been marked as a preferred term. This is indicated by this rosette icon. So wherever the rosette icon is, this is the term that is the preferred term. The little flag indicates the language dialect. So here it's Great Britain English. It also could be American, Australian, or another English dialect, and then you'd have a different flag here. If you hover over a concept, the a tooltip will appear, and there's additional information, additional details that will be displayed. Let me show you this. So you can see the description ID here, which is the number. You can also see the effective time. So this description became effective in 2002. There's the date. 31st of January 2002. It shows the language of the description, and that the initial character is case insensitive. This means that it doesn't matter if the first character is upper or lowercase, and it shows which module it comes from. So here it's the SNOMED CT core module. So if it belonged to a national extension, you would see that module there. Then there are these little blue triangles. If you click on them, it displays a list of actions that can be performed on the description. So this is something you will need for editing. And as you can see, some of the actions are disabled, like clone and retire is disabled here, so you cannot perform these actions. That is because the actions are enabled according to the concept model. So if the concept model does not allow these actions, then they can't be performed. But we will talk about this a little bit later. Okay, let's go to the next section, which is the properties. I'm going to close this one. Okay. So on the left side, you have again relationship types, property types, and on the right side, you have the actual values, so that the terms or the numeric values that are associated with it. It shows you the concept's relationships and data type properties. And the ungrouped relationships are in this first sections, and here there's property groups. In the ungrouped properties, you see, for example, an ISA relationship. So you can see that lipodystrophy is a lipoatrophy and lipodystrophy. So this is the parent concept of lipodystrophy. And if you look at it here in the hierarchy, you can actually see that this is the parent. You can also see it here in the parent view. The property group section, these are properties that belong together. For example, an associated morphology always has a finding site. In our example, the associated morphology dystrophy has a finding site in the subcutaneous fatty tissue. This is why they are in a single property group. If a concept has several property groups, they are displayed here as well, and I will show you what this looks like. Let's go to tetralogy of Fallot. Let's close the description section and just look at the properties. So as you can see, there are actually 5 different property groups, because you have different associated morphologies and different finding sites. And there are actually several ISA relationships as well, because, and let me link this. Okay. Because it has several parents. So if you look here in the parents view, you can see the different parents of this concept. You were probably wondering why there are so many empty fields here. This is because of the snow owl concept model. The concept model is based on the IHTSDO editorial guide. So the concept model checks what properties are specified for a particular type of concept and automatically creates appropriate entry fields in the user interface. So this is what you can see here. You won't need this if you're just viewing concepts, but if you're editing concepts, this will make your life a lot easier, and I'll work with this in the next video. Just like in the description section, there's also the tooltip feature. So if you hover over a property, it displays different information. So it's the relationship ID, it's again the effective time and the SNOMED CT core module. And then there are some more advanced features, some more advanced information that is dependent on the type of property, like the characteristics type, the refinability, and the modifier, but I don't want to go into these details. Okay, let's go to the last section of the editor, the SNOMED CT Properties. It displays the metadata about the concept, so the fields in these sections are always the same. You can see the concept ID here. You can also see the little heart, and if you remember the video about the top level concepts, then you will know that this is a clinical finding. Here, the heart is for clinical finding. You can see the module, the effective time. And then you can see the status, if it's an active or an inactive concept. And inactive concepts, I have one here. It looks like this, so the icon is actually different here. It has a little red minus. Inactive concepts, when it's available, will have alternate concepts displayed as hyperlinks. This is here, this possibly equivalent to. So you have two different hyperlinks, and if I click them, it will open the editor of this alternate concept. You can also see why it was set inactive, so the inactivity status, which was because it was ambiguous. And then there's then there are two more pieces of information. Let's go back to this one. Which is the definition status. So it's either defined or it's primitive. If it's defined, you will see that the light bulb is yellow, it's on. If it's primitive, the light bulb will be off. And there's also the subclass definition, which is a more advanced feature related to description logic. We will cover this and the definition status in a video about SNOW's description logic feature. So I just wanted to introduce the basics to you in this video. Okay, so much about looking at concepts in the editor. And in the next video, we will actually make changes to a concept.